I will be brief. Madam Chair and members, AB 708 helps to protect our fish and wildlife resources by addressing the very significant rise in poaching cases, serious poaching cases that we've seen in California in recent years. Not since the early 1900s have we experienced such high level of poaching. The most recent statistics show that between 2005 and 07, poaching-related violations increased by 25%. This is happening at an even greater degree since the economy has started to decline. And to demonstrate better the level of poaching that we're talking about, I just want to show you a picture, an enlarged photo that we have here today. Last year, the Department, right here, the Department of Fish and Game arrested a man in Gilroy in possession of 335 birds. And as a result, what's that? As a result of the conviction, the violator was only placed on 2 years of probation, ordered to pay a total of $7,000 and to serve 100 hours of community service. And after this crime, he was only banned from hunting for one single season. California is particularly susceptible to these kind of serial poachers because the current fines and penalties simply don't provide a sufficient deterrent. There are no minimum mandatory fines for serious poaching violations. And also, California has the fewest wardens per capita of any state in the nation to enforce our fish and game laws. So AB 708 establishes a minimum mandatory fines for serious poaching of fish and wildlife to provide that deterrent. And specifically, it establishes fines of not less than $5,000, not more than $40,000 for a first offense, and then for subsequent offenses, the fines and the jail time goes up from there. Finally, this bill allows Fish and Game to permanently revoke the license of a person convicted of one of these violations, but also allows for an appeal process. This is important because in many cases, Fish and Game is arresting the same people over and over and over for these violations, and yet after a few years and a slap on the hand, we continue to give them fishing and hunting licenses. That needs to stop. And with me to testify today, I have a couple of witnesses. I want to start, though, by welcoming District Attorney Kamala Harris, who's one of the co-sponsors of the bill.
Thank you, and thank you for your leadership on this. Simply put, what we know in law enforcement is that if the punishment is not significant enough, or if the offender can build it into the cost of doing business, then we really don't have a deterrence in terms of trying to deter or reduce the likelihood of that criminal or illegal conduct. In this situation in particular, what we are experiencing in San Francisco and throughout the state is that poachers are building the price of these low fines into the cost of doing business. It is not a deterrent, and it's not reducing the likelihood that they're going to offend. So I strongly support this measure because I believe that increased fines will, in fact, have a deterrence effect. We know from talking to our restaurateurs who are abiding by the law and they are doing legally what they should do, that it is just simply cost prohibitive in terms of the way that we're working. So I support this and urge your strong support. Thank you.
Madam Chair and members, Dan Taylor, Policy Director for Audubon California. I'm pleased to be here with Mr. Huffman supporting his bill. This poaching represents both a crime against nature and the theft of important resources held in the public trust. We need better law enforcement and stronger penalties, and this bill is a critical step toward those goals. The organization that I proudly represent was formed over 100 years ago in direct response to poaching and the exploitation of wildlife. And many thought that it was a problem of the past. No, that is not true. It represents a grave threat to us here today. We're delighted to be a part of this very broad coalition, and being here with D.A. Harris is especially a privilege with our hunter community as well. Look forward to passing a very strong AB 708. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have 2 and 2, or are you opposition?
I'll be very brief. No, I'm support.
Oh, okay.
Jason Ryan, California Outdoor Heritage Alliance. We represent about 35 wildlife conservation and hunting organizations. We are in support of this bill. We do have a couple minor concerns which we believe will be addressed, but we are very much in support. Thank you.
Madam Chair, committee members, Pamela Flick from Defenders of Wildlife. On behalf of our more than 200,000 members in California, we strongly support this bill and urge your aye vote. Thank you.
Hello, Virginia Hanley of POPAC, in support.
Christopher Trinnell on behalf of the Ocean Conservancy in strong support. Thank you.
Tom Raftig, Sport Fishing Conservancy, strong support. Jerry Carno, California Fish and Game Wardens Association. The Warden Association strongly supports this bill and looking forward to any questions you might have and any amendments with this. And thank you for bringing this up. Strongly support it.
Thank you. And Madam Chair, with your indulgence, I want to just introduce Nancy Foley from the Department of Fish and Game's Enforcement Division. She's worked closely with us on this bill, and I want to thank her for her the tough work we ask her to do with not a lot of resources, and hopefully this bill will help.
We probably all need to thank her at this point. Is there any opposition? Well, there's been a motion and a second, I believe. Yes.
I like the bill. I'm going to support it today. I think that we need to be thinking in terms before we go and raise any more fines and fees, that perhaps part of the answer is getting more fish and game wardens. I mean, I think if there's more enforcement, if people thought that there was a better chance of them being caught, they'd be less likely to do this. And I think that at some point we're going to hit a point of diminishing returns where we could be charging $1 million. And it's not going to stop if everyone thinks that they can just run afoul of the law. So.
And Mr. Anderson, I couldn't agree with you more, and that's why we have a mechanism in the bill to dedicate some of that increased penalty revenue to hiring more wardens.
Yes, and that's
which
one of the
will
things that
begin
brought
to
me
get at
onto
the
bill.
problem.
So I want to thank you for that.
As the bill moves forward, I want to continue to work on incentives for some of the money too to go into prosecutors' local budgets, so that we incent local prosecutors to bring these kind of cases. And we'll be working on that as we go forward.
Mr. Berryhill?
Yeah, I'm in support of this bill also. You know, the author knows that I'm a big hunter and fisherman, and so many of us are law-abiding, and all it takes is one idiot like this, and deterrents are good, and severe spankings are good. So I'll tell
No,
you
that
what,
was Sally Lieber's bill.
you've got to do something to get their attention, and so I'm going to, in fact, I'd like to be a co-author on this thing, add on if I could.
And we'll add that spanking provision at your request.
So would you like to close? And there's been a motion.
Minus the spanking provision, I'd like to be a co-author as well.
Okay.
Right. Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a great bill that has brought together environmentalists, law enforcement, and the hunting and fishing community. Obviously tells you there's a strong need for this kind of a bill. So I'm grateful for all the support and respectfully request your aye vote.
Call the roll.
Do pass to appropriations. Huffman.
Aye.
Huffman, aye. Fuller.
Aye.
Fuller, aye. Anderson. Anderson, aye. Arambula. Arambula, aye. Berryhill. Berryhill, aye. Blumenfield. Blumenfield, aye. Caballero. Caballero, aye. Fletcher. Fletcher, aye. Krikorian. Krikorian, aye. Lowenthal. Lowenthal, aye. Perez. Perez, aye. Salas. Salas, aye. Yamada. Yamada, aye. Bill is out.
Bill is out.